Hello, children. Today we will do the poem The Bengal Sailor. Bengal Sailor is a poem written by one of the most prominent Indian poet and politician, Sarojini Naidu. The Bengal Sailor, is a poem which explores the life of the Indian women, the Indian culture and traditions revolving around women. In most of her poems, Naidu writes on the theme of Indian culture and people. Her poems are focused on Indian settings, and this poem makes no exception. In its Indianness, the poem resembles another of her poems in the bazaars of Hyderabad. Talking about the form and language of the poem, the entire poem has a structure where each stanza focuses on particular theme. As for example, the first stanza depicts the merchants trotting at the temple fair to attract the attention of the people passing by. The consequent stanzas focus on bangles of various colors the sailors have for women of all different ages. And further, it proceeds like that. The poem Bengal Sailors has a very simple rhythm like AABBCC for each stanza. With mostly octosyllable lines, the poem has no distinctive meter, but one has an apprehensive of the same due to the use of easy language and a general fluidity of words. She has used very clever similes, which has made a very beautiful a very beautiful or rather it has given the beauty to the poem. So let us proceed with the poem. The very first stanza is: Bengal sailors are we who bear our shining loads to the temple fair. Who will buy this delicate bright rainbow tinted circles of light, lustrous tokens of radiant lives for happy daughters and happy wives? So we see the poem begins with the speakers introducing themselves as Bengal sailors who sail their articles rather at the temple fair. They call out to the people to buy their bangles. These hawkers describe their bangles as very delicate, bright, rainbow tinted circles of light. So they compare it with the light. They advertise by questioning who will buy this. And generally they answers also that these are meant for happy daughters and happy wives. Now, it is very important to note over here that though the speaker of the poem are several, it appears that there is only one single speaker. This is due to the fact that they all have the same purpose, and thus they see singularly as a class essence. So let us proceed to the second stanza. Some are made for the maiden's rest, silver and blue as a mountain mist. Some are flushed like the birds that dream on the tranquil brow of a woodland stream. Some are aglow with the bloom that cleaves to the limpid glory of a newborn leaves. So in the second stanza onward, the speaker talks of the kind of bangles they have. Some of these bangles are suited for a maiden, that is a young unmarried woman's wrist. They are silver and blue in color, like the mountain mist. Some of them are flushed, that is pink and light red in color, like flower birds growing beside a woodland stream. So they depicts, age wise, the colors are chosen and described along with the age of the women. Still others are green and glowing like the transparent beauty of a newborn leaf, and that is compared with a young maiden. At the same time, in Indian society, it also depicts bangles have a very important cultural and religious place. Different colored bangles are worn by women in different stages of life. Blue, silver, green are generally worn by the young maidens. It is interesting to note that the poet here uses the words flushed like the birds that dream. The word birds here is suggested of chastity. Birds that dream present before us an image of young girls dreaming of their marriage. In this stanza, the poet presents the stage of youth in a woman's life. Now, let's go to the third stanza. Some are like field of sunlit corn, meet for a bride on her bridal morn. some like the flame of her marriage fire, or rich with the hue of her heart's desire, tinkling, luminous, tender and clear, like her bridal laughter and bridal tear. So, in the third stanza, the Bengal sailors say that some of their bangles are yellow, like the field of sunlit corn. So, over here it depicts the maturity. Bangles of this color are perfect for a bride on her bridal morn. Some of the bangles that are bright red, that represents the flame of a newly turned bride's marriage fire. That is a passion for her newly made relation. Again, the red bangles also stand for her heart's desire. The desire for a new life, the desire for a happily married life. The bangles are tinkling, luminous, tender, and clear. They express both her joy of starting a new life with her husband, and also the sorrow of leaving her parental house. What we find striking in this verse are bridal laughter and bridal tears. This verse convey the whole of woman's transition in the life from a maiden to a wife, because all her emotions are attached with it in a single line. This stanza marks the transition of life from a maiden to a wife. Now comes the fourth stanza. Some are purple and gold-flecked grey. For who? She, who has journeyed through life midway, whose hands have cherished, whose love has blessed, and cradled fair sons on her faithful breast, and serves her household in fruitful pride, and worship the God at her husband's side. So, in the final stanza, this is the final stanza of the poem, The Bengal Sailor, the speakers continue to advertise their bangles. They shout that some of their bangles are purple and gold-flecked grey. They are suited for a mid-aged woman who has journeyed through life. They are for her who has raised her children well and has remained faithful to her husband as well as family. These bangles are, they say, perfect for who has maintained her household with pride, and even she has sacrificed everything from her parental how she has sacrificed her name, she has sacrificed everything, even she has started worshipping the God at her husband's side. So in this stanza, the poet writes down that she perceives as the quality of a good wife, such a woman is truly deserving of the purple and gold-flecked grey bangles in her eyes. Here we should pay attention to the word sons used to mean offsprings. While it could be a happy coincidence, it could also suggest ingrained attitude of male preference in the society of our India during those time, and still it is prevailing. And Naidu has very effectively and in very few words had expressed the Indian society in all her poems, and very nicely in this poem too. Thank you.